impression of myself whatsoever. I'm just another geek.
Yeah, I know. I was just, I was making it up. I was just trying to be nice for,
Right, you're trying to put a smile on my face.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, because it's generally just before a
Thanks.
podcast. You don't want to go into a podcast after having dropped a clanger. Like,
No.
it's awful. Like, I hate spending time with you. It's really embarrassing and awkward. If I was to say that and then click the record button like I did, we'd go into this with like an awkward tang in the air, wouldn't we?
An awkward silence.
So, yeah, as that really sank in.
Really? Well, from my point of view, I was thinking maybe we should record this without any visual, because probably the hardest thing for people watching this is your face.
I know it is, and today I'm extra illuminated. You can see all the details. We're filming a little bit earlier in the day, and there's still daylight, and I don't have the best lighting
out there, but And so it's brighter than normal. Your face for radio. It's just yeah.
It's all out there for you to see. So
I know there's not much you could do about that either.
No, and that's one of those things. We all learn to live with our little quirks, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you look kind of like a sock full of mashed potatoes,
definitely
forged into the shape of a troll, then you just have to learn to live with it. Likewise, if the only things that you're able to say in other people's company are things that make their stomach drop in fear and awkwardness, you just learn to you learn to stick with the right degenerates, the right kind of.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
I think that's part of the reason for doing the live stream as well. People had too much of a nice impression of me, which I'm trying to break with inappropriate comments as much as possible.
Exactly,
I'm an
and
asshole like everyone else.
You'll surround yourself with degenerates that love that kind of thing, and then it's fine. Then you're back to normal again. You know what I mean? You just got to make sure that you don't stand out from the crowd.
Have we started recording yet? Because we're going to do, because this is this isn't lore. This isn't Warhammer right now. I thought I saw the numbers, but there was a moment of introspection there.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be
we can edit
people.
This out.
Yeah. They don't need to know the context about it. They don't need to know we had a 3-hour therapy session before this started, and then we just went straight into this. I cried, you cried, we both cried. We had a hug through the screen. It got really emotional, but it's all out of my system now. I feel much better.
I mean, I mainly cried when I turned the camera on and saw your face.
That was the thing. We had to get through that, didn't we? We had to work through it. And what really did work was turning the lights all the way off and then just slowly bringing them up, bit by bit, gradually. It was like a frog in a pan of boiling water. You just kind of get used to it, right?
Bit of mood music in the background.
Yeah.
Bit of S Club 7.
Yeah. Oh, I love a bit of S Club. Yeah. Reach for this. Is that what you'd go for as well as your...
Well, it's a classic, isn't it?
It is a classic.
It's like as Shakespeare once said, reach for the stars.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it did, yeah. So anyway, you're welcome to the STC. This is episode 31 of the STC. That's how many times we've managed to sit here and go and do this so far.
That's a lot.
Sorry.
That's and the cough and everything. Yeah. That's a lot for this sort of low key, terrible content, and we keep doing it.
Yeah. And
this is the internet in 2025.
Yeah.
This
is the internet, and not only that, but some people would say this is quite highbrow compared to things that some people are putting out in 2025. Yeah, got to apologise for the cough. Right. Sorry about that. I'm on the back end of a little cold or whatever it was. So if I cough horrendously into the microphone, pretend you didn't hear it. Neither of us will mention it. We'll just keep going and we'll just move on. Anyway, it's episode 31 of STC. This is the podcast, if you've never watched it before, where apparently we just don't have any focus, but we do eventually have a subject that we talk about, and it is to do with Warhammer 40,000 or the Horus Heresy, or it's the Warhammer universe.
Yes.
We generally get there. Two fans of the lore, just sitting down, having a lovely chat about stuff and the game and lore and things like that. Sometimes, if you pick away at it, if you dig deep in the pile, you will find there will be some little nuggets in there, some lore nuggets.
Why is picking away at a scab as well? Why is that so satisfying? I mean, like when you're younger as well. Have you noticed now you're older, scabs are not in your life as much as they used to be.
Nowhere near. I feel like I
No.
always had a scab when I was a kid, and
Yeah,
I don't even remember the last. I used to get good knee scabs. I
I
think
know.
you fall back in the day. You fall on your knees a lot more.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know why that is. You come off things, you cut your knees up real bad.
You get some
Yeah,
decent like road burn scabs after you slide down the hill on your elbow for 20 yards. It's lovely
yeah,
stuff. We don't that I mean other things that I thought would feature in my life a lot more when I was a child. Like I thought pirates would be more in my life
yeah.
and swordfish. But and the
Pirates
Bermuda
just aren't.
Triangle. What happened to the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, that
That
was a
was a
big thing.
thing. That was a thing when I was growing up. I never wanted to go anywhere that and it was like the
Yeah,
eye of terror. But now,
no one talks
apparently,
about it.
you can
Yeah,
go on holiday there. Apparently, it's a place.
it's weird that I do remember the Bermuda Triangle having a much more presence in my life
Yeah,
back in the day. But I
yeah,
also think I know why I had more scabs. And that
right.
was one of my favourite activities. Was there was a really around the back of my house there was a really empty road that was quite steep, and it went down into a cul-de-sac. And
Right.
what we started doing initially was we'd get a skateboard and
Yeah.
we'd lay on the skateboard face first,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then we'd go down. We'd sort of dare it just like start. I think maybe we started sitting on it or
Yeah.
like crouching on it, and
Yeah.
then we'd go face first. And then the main thing was you had to go down the slope with your eyes closed.
Right.
And you had to see
Face
how long you could
first.
keep your eyes closed, face first
Skateboard.
on a skateboard. Laying on a skateboard, face first, eyes closed. That was like the dare, and it was like the longer you keep your eyes closed and make a big scene about the fact your eyes were closed, like really scrunch them up,
Right.
the better. But what it did mean was that if you did make any kind of mistake,
Yeah.
the outcome was going to be pretty bad every
Scabs.
time. Yeah, you're going to hit
What was
yourself.
what was the braking mechanism? Your face, your actual face.
No, so well, yeah, it was. So what it was is that in this
What was
cul-de-sac, when you got to the bottom of the little slope thing,
Yeah.
if you kind of pushed yourself round to the left,
Yeah.
you'd run out of momentum because
Right.
it was like a flat, and then it would go back up again. So
Okay.
if you did it properly, you go up. If you didn't, you'd go straight into a curb
Right.
dead ahead. And sometimes you just come off it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just fly off it, and yeah, you just rip your flesh to bits, but then want to do it again. I don't
So
know
that
what
was one of your favorite activities,
that, and also getting a little trampoline.
right?
My friend had a little trampoline, and we'd take it into his parents' bedroom where they had the
A
big,
tramp what, in the parents'
a
bedroom.
tiny little tramp. Well, I'm talking about like,
Up, yes,
yeah, it was
because
like
trampolines. I've seen trampolines, and trampolines don't normally fit in bedrooms.
no, this was a little tambourine, tambourine,
Tambourine,
a little trampoline. I'm trying to
tambourines.
think.
They
It's
were a thing when I was a kid as well. I haven't
tambourines
seen
were,
one of
yeah,
them for decades.
yeah.
So you take a little tambourine
Little
into the parents'
tambourine, take
bed,
it into
right?
the parents' bedroom. Then we get a
Right,
screwdriver,
right,
and the idea was you jump on the trampoline, you do a flip onto the
flip.
bed, but then you hold the screwdriver against yourself as like a stunt. So as you're flipping in the air, you hold the screwdriver against yourself, and it's like, wow, if I mess this up, I'm dead, kind of thing. And we used to do that like 20 times.
You were
It's mad, isn't
dicing
it?
with death.
Yeah, always. And cycling around, like when you used to cycle, there was no helmet, there was no nothing. And it was cool to cycle without your
There's
hands
barely
on the
any brakes.
handlebars.
Do you remember cycling around and you've worn your brakes out because you cycled so much that your
Brakes are long
front
gone.
foot on your front wheel was your best braking
Yeah.
mechanism that you had?
Brakes did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
You were kind of required, if you wanted to be cool, because I was a few years after you, but we were kind of in the same ballpark on how kids thought. You you had to stand up a lot when you were cycling. You had to not hold the handlebars very often.
Yeah.
You definitely couldn't wear a helmet. And the whole thing about cycling with your hands like folded in front of you or something to prove to everybody that you didn't need to hold the handlebars seemed to be a big thing as well.
Yeah.
But if you went down a hill with your trashy brakes, you really were in trouble. Like, you had to keep going because there wasn't brakes.
I've had a few spectacular. One sticks with me when I was about 5. That was a spectacular one. And then I had another one when I was like 13, 14. I was a hoon in it then. 13. I remember that one quite. The scabs on that on both arms and knees. It was summertime. That one. It was, like you go down. So, like an A road. And
Yep.
then you've got an underpass going under the A road. And
Yep.
the underpass going under the A road is just a bike pass, right?
Okay.
And you see these all the time. You see A roads with bike passes going. No cars. It's just there's a hill, trees on one side, and hill and trees on the other side. And so you could go from one side of the park to the other side of the park. The thing is, this underpass was at the bottom of a hill. You see?
Right. Yeah.
So you went down the hill, through the trees, scaring all the wild. And then at the bottom, when you're reaching terminal velocity, it dips even more to go under the A road.
Yeah.
Yeah. That dip, that one caught me a doozy. That one, and I'm amazed to this day that I didn't break anything. But it would have looked like Formula One. It was that kind of speed.
I know what you mean.
I'm amazed that I'm still here, to be honest.
Yeah, but these were it was life affirming. That was the difference. Children of the 80s and 90s and before then, I mean, whatever yours was, the 40s, it was life affirming. And that's how we lived. It was ride or die. You went down with anyone who's familiar with Surrey, there was a place called Box Hill.
Surrey.
And we used to cycle up to Box Hill, and I remember distinctly a chap called Adrian Jenner. We'd cycled to Box Hill.
Right.
We were cycling down this trail. It's basically a big hill.
Big hill.
In the woods, right? And there are paths and everything.
Yeah.
And he's ahead of me, and he was going so fast that I couldn't keep up with him. I was like, is he all right? And then all of a sudden, silence. Couldn't see him. Nothing.
Was there a cliff?
What happened? It was close enough. So Box Hill is very hilly like that. And what happened was, when you get used to cycling without brakes, and then you get a new bike, and then
I've got a story on that.
You pull the brakes, right, and they work.
Yeah.
You literally pull them at full might because you're so used to doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You'd still pull the brakes and they'd be very weak, but you'd pull them and hope for the best, and then you could use your foot to try and slow it down. But if you had a new bike, and you tried to pull them in that same way, you just go straight over you literally fly off. And what he'd done was he was going so fast ahead of me that further down the hill he'd applied his brakes. Literally, the front wheel locked. He flew off.
Nice.
He was gone somewhere.
Nice.
His bike was gone somewhere. And eventually he started calling out. He wasn't injured at all.
Right.
I think we were immortal.
Yeah.
I think kids from back then were either made out of a different kind of material, or we just couldn't get hurt, because the amount of terrible things that I've seen happen to people and then they're fine. They just get up with a cut on them.
Vibranium absorbs. The more damage you put it, the more it absorbs the thing.
Yeah.
I got one about brakes, right? In Canada, I went to Canada once, and there's mountain biking. They ski, but just like in Europe, when the ski slopes are shut in the summertime, you can take mountain bikes up the ski lift and then cycle back down again, right?
Right.
So I was there with my sister, and we hired a couple of mountain bikes, and they were proper trail bikes for going down a mountain with disc brakes on.
Oh, okay.
Proper disc brakes.
Yeah.
So we come trundling out the shop. I tap the disc brake and it stops. I'm like, oh, they're good. Trundle a bit further out the shop, tap the disc brake, stop. I'm like, these are really good. Okay, so I'll take up a bit of speed and I'll kick the end out. I'll do a bit of a skid. I'll just get used to these brakes. And I tap the brakes. And the Canadians, against all sense and all reason and against the natural order of things, have the brakes on the wrong handlebars. Like, that's the front one, that's the back one.
Okay.
That's the front one. That's the back one. It's a bit like Australia with the water going the wrong way
Yeah.
down the thing or the thing. Why Canadians decided to do it so backwards? There is a way brakes should be arranged on brakes,
Yeah.
but those crazy Canadians, no, let's cross them round. So I got up a bit of speed, went like that to kick the
Oh,
back end out,
no.
and it stopped. The front stopped, and I went flying.
Yeah.
And so then I had to pick the bike back up because I mangled the bike, and the thing went through the thing. And the guys in the shop, they were there. They were
Yeah.
laughing.
Yeah, of course they
saw
were.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in my 30s. They saw this, like, and my sister's there with her head.
Oh, this is recent. Okay.
No, this
Ish.
is like a decade ago, I reckon, around
Yeah.
there. Maybe 40s. It was about, when was it?
I'm thinking
Actually,
this
it
is
was
when you were
about a
like
decade ago.
18 or something. But okay.
No.
So this
Yeah,
is.
I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah, you're a full
Yeah, when I was
sized.
in the factory and everything. Yeah. Picked the bike up off the road, and they were laughing like, your brakes are on the other way around. He said,
Yeah.
no, the brakes are on the correct way round.
I mean, that's
So
cheating, though, isn't it? They
proceeded-
bamboozled you deliberately.
Yeah, and they had to fix. So they fixed it, and then they gave me another bike. I proceeded to explain to them how brakes should be assembled on their bikes in their bike shop,
Yeah.
and how to correctly make tea, because they knew neither of these things. Tea and microwaves. That's another thing they do.
They do the American
in
thing,
the
do they?
microwave. Why are they putting it in? Don't put it in anyway. But yeah, right outside the shop, flying. That was.
Did you suffer any injuries, though?
No.
No scabs? Nothing?
No, the broken bones that I've had have not happened from cycling injuries.
The street fighting, is it?
It's mainly shark hunting and tiger baiting and dinosaur riding. Those manly things like that. That's where all the scars come from. Yeah, shark surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like shark surfing. You know what? Another thing that's missing that doesn't happen anymore. Did you used to go to the beach and have those like little? Are they bodyboards? What were they? They were like little floaty. They were like a surfboard, but a small one.
Just a little bit of
boogie board, bodyboard.
Yeah,
but they were everywhere. People used to use those all the time. They're gone as well.
I think
everything's gone.
I think that was a couple of seasons they were around.
Was it?
I don't think they existed when I was very small. And then when they came out, I was probably doing the alcohol thing. And then they disappeared again. You can't go boogie boarding around the UK anymore, though, because it's surrounded by shit.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
A nice little sewer moat to keep us all trapped inside.
Yeah.
I like it. Oh, they've done. If you were born in the 90s or 80s or the 70s. Or 70s.
Yeah.
Or the 60s, even.
Hey. I mean, no one was born in the 60s. That's really old. 70s, that's fine.
70s
I remember
is
ABBA
fine.
on the radio.
Oh, okay. If you're born in those times, what else is missing? There's so much missing. That has nothing to do with Warhammer. Warhammer, however, was fantasy. I read this the other day. Warhammer Fantasy Battles was around a lot earlier than 40k. It was 1982.
Well, I don't know when Citadel Miniatures Warhammer Fantasy Battle 2nd edition was up by the time Rogue Trader came out.
Right.
So they'd done the first one, they'd done the second one, because Games Workshop were just a games distributor, and they also distributed Citadel Miniatures as well.
Yeah.
And so they ended up buying Citadel Miniatures and making their own games and using and that's how come Warhammer Fantasy Battle became a thing. The miniatures came first.
Okay.
From Citadel Miniatures. And then their big break was Dungeons and Dragons, wasn't it? They got the license to distribute Dungeons and Dragons in Europe from America, and that's how they made their money. Steve Jackson, Ian Livingstone. Did you read the Choose Your Own Adventure?
Of course I did. Of course I did. And the illustration on the front of Death Trap Dungeon always lived rent free in my head. It was such a weird creature.
3, wasn't it? Death Trap Dungeon.
I don't know well enough to know which number it was, but Death Trap Dungeon was the first one that I got for whatever reason, and I spent a long time with that book and loved it and cherished it as a kid. I always cheated though. I hated losing. Yeah,
I tried a few times to do it properly.
Yeah,
and then you died.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, and I was like, I ain't going back to the start.
Yeah.
So I'd hold the page with my. Yeah. Okay, as long as everyone did that, that's fine.
Yeah, I think everyone did that. Yeah. No, I mean, them's were they were peak fantasy. There was not a lot of fantasy back then. There was like Lord of the Rings, Sword of Shannara, Belgariad. This is before Dungeons and Dragons books came out.
What did I go for? I remember I've got a distinct memory of wanting more fantasy books, and I went to the library. This is maybe early 90s, so we've got a limited amount of things that are out.
There wasn't a lot.
There was a series that I started, and I remember the main character starts off being hanged and soils themselves with a bunch of other people, and then they're like cut down just before they die. And I can never remember what this series was, but it was really good.
Comment section.
Yeah.
If you can remember that, write in the comment section below. Help Warsmith Chris remember.
Literally straight into it.
Too.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Literally straight the very start bit. Your main character's been hanged.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of pastiche fantasy back then, but not good fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a long time to get fantasy upmarket and Lord of the Rings-esque.
I mean, it was. I mean, I remember before David Gemmell, before Raymond Ede Feist, before you had some proper Tad Williams, the Dragonbone Chair. I remember when those came out. It's like, finally, we've got some decent fantasy. And now fantasy, it's everywhere. It's a whole thing. It's a thing. And sci-fi as well was like that back in the day.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of sci-fi going along.
You always have these... You have these like...
pre-genre.
Yeah. I mean, sci-fi, you can go right the way back with sci-fi as well.
2000 Leagues Under the Sea. And
things like that. And the thing about fantasy is that the 80s came along and things like adapting Conan the Barbarian into a movie and having it all about like the aesthetic just became like really skimpy clothes, men and women. And it was like, it's weird that I mean, I get why it happened because the 80s were really into like the sex sells kind of thing. And we had all these films like Porky's coming out. And we watched the other day, Ghoulies, me and a Bad Boy Bananarama watched the Ghoulies quadrilogy. That started off as one thing. And by the time you get to the third one, it's just like a college... Everyone's naked, sexy college romp right in the middle of the 80s.
Writing that one down. Okay.
There we go. It was, you know what? You'd think that, you know, as nerd gamers and everything, we'd love a good college romp, but actually it was excessive. It was too much.
Was it?
Yeah, it was just like it was ridiculous, but it was intense. With the joke. Yeah.
Do you know what is ridiculous and too much and intense, but a great movie that you need to see?
Midsummer?
Sharknado.
I've never seen it. I've never
watch it. It's great.
All right. I've always thought maybe I should just watch Sharknado, but I never got round to it. And there's multiple of them, isn't there?
There is multiple. It's so good. I mean, those Croctopus. There's a bunch of films like that which suck. And unless you really like bad movies, you shouldn't bother. But Sharknado is peak. It reaches parts others of those movies cannot reach because they lean into it. It's so good.
Okay, we'll put it on the watch list.
Yeah,
me and old Bad Boy, we just got really into going through all the old films we can watch that are generally in the horror genre. Okay. We watched one that we saw a film we'd never heard of this before. It's a creature feature called Pumpkinhead. Have you heard of Pumpkinhead?
Pumpkinhead, no, maybe, probably not.
Okay, it was directed by the main visual effects guy for like every film you've ever watched. Okay. Like visual effects for like Terminator and anything that had some kind of like latex man in it who bursts or is ripped open or anything like that. Just you go through his IMDb thing and it's like every other film is like, oh my god, hit that. And he made this film, Pumpkinhead, and it has probably, for the time, the most advanced, incredible animatronic creature in it. And I'd never heard of this film before, and it looks like it should be sat up there with like all of those films, with all the like Halloween and Jason and Freddy and all the kind of peak 80s, 90s killer creatures.
Right.
And it wasn't. And we watched it, we're like, that is ridiculous. That was ridiculously good.
Yeah.
For what it was. So I thoroughly recommend Pumpkinhead. Don't watch the sequel. It's nothing to do with the original. It wasn't directed by like a grandmaster visual effects guy.
Okay.
But the first one, you can see even the cinematography in it is like beautiful. It's really well shot. Great film.
And it didn't achieve the heights of Hellraiser or Freddy. None of them.
Totally unknown. Pumpkinhead. Wow. And that's what happens, I think, when you get someone with all the talent who hadn't made a name for himself publicly. So he was really famous behind the scenes, but not publicly, probably. He makes film. People didn't know what it was. Who's that?
He probably had that idea bubbling in his head for decades because he's like the thing on all the other films and he was pestering the producers and the directors and all of his Hollywood friends. Give me some money to make it. Give me some money to make a movie. Give me some money. And they're like, no. And then eventually he got the money to make the movie and he made Pumpkinhead, and no one knows what it is.
Yeah. And for the record, Pumpkinhead is a creature of vengeance that you have to. It's hillbilly magic. Yeah.
Is he a good guy, really, Pumpkinhead?
Not in the slightest. No. So if someone's done you wrong out in the redneck, is that a horrible thing to say? Out in the sticks.
Say rednecks.
Yeah, out in the sticks in America, where everybody lives in like trailers and has no electricity, is essentially it. If someone does you wrong there, you can go see a witch.
Yeah,
and she can tell you how to summon Pumpkinhead. Go watch it. You won't be disappointed.
For a head?
No.
Does Pumpkinhead have a melon for a head?
Nope.
But it's called Pumpkinhead because that's a bit of irony there. It's actually a melon head or a coconut head.
Pumpkinhead is more like a demon. He comes out of he is a no, I don't want to spoil.
Doesn't have a melon for a head.
No, I don't really want to spoil it. It's quite grim.
You're not going to spoil it. No one's going to watch Pumpkinhead. No one is.
They should do.
Pumpkinhead.
All right.
I'm not even convinced you're not making this up.
No, I'm not making it up. Pumpkinhead is the corpse of a possessed child.
When does right?
And you have to go. You have to go to this overgrown pumpkin patch that was a grave.
Okay.
And you have to dig him up, and he's a mummified little kid in there. And then you do this magic, and he turns into he like grows. He's all shriveled up and like a mummy, and then he turns into like a big creature, and he can only be stopped when he's killed the person that you've done the spell for. And the whole point of the film is the guy who does it isn't such a bad guy, and he's unleashed it on a bunch of teenagers who have done him wrong, and then he kind of realizes that he's done a bad. And it's about him trying to stop his own cursed thing, and there's a witch in it who's like, you can't stop him once you started until he's settled the score. It's great. It's a great film.
Do that with an American accent.
What the witch voice?
You did something. You went halfway there. Lean into it. Go all the way.
You can't stop him until he's had his revenge. He's out for blood.
He's out for blood.
He's out for blood.
That sounds very New York. I'm walking here. Christopher walking here.
I guess it's a bit more like...
Cup of coffee.
Well, there. He until he's had his blood, he ain't going to stop.
I didn't know you possessed such talents. You did the New York and then straight down to Oklahoma.
I forgot. I did the wrong one. Yeah, I did the... Yeah. Hey, I'm walking here. I did that one instead of the... Well, hey there. Howdy, partner. All of these.
Beep, beep.
Yeah. Oh, no, don't make me laugh.
Don't make me laugh.
Don't make me laugh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is gross. I'm sorry for anyone else to watch this. It's horrible. Watching me like splutter away. Anyway, we've nearly run through half our time. We haven't even started.
Right, yeah. Welcome to the STC episode 30-something. We're doing our top 5 Space Marine units of all time.
Yes, we are. And this is not, the criteria is not like my favorite, right? We're basing it on like are they good on the tabletop? Are they good? Are they cool? There's a whole load of criteria. It's not just one thing.
This is current as well, right? Like now.
Current now, yeah.
Because one of my top fives now may not have been one of my top fives in second edition.
Yeah, no, this is current. This is like, if you watch this, because we only do objectively correct lists. If you watch this, picking these units, you can't go wrong picking these units for your Space Marine army.
Well,
and we'll tell you why. No, we have to have an objective authority. Winters,
authority?
we have to turn around. People have to come to this podcast and be like,
right.
I'm desperate to know what to put in my Space Marine army.
Respect my authority.
And these guys definitely know what they're talking about.
Who?
These guys.
Where? Who are we talking about?
Talking about Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead. Respect his authority.
You better do, otherwise he'll come for you. And he can't be stopped until he's had his fill of blood.
Can I get a plate of grits?
Can I get grits?
That's my cousin Vinny, right? The
biscuit and grits. And yeah,
it's not biscuit though. What is their biscuit? It's like a hash brown thing.
No, biscuit is like a scone.
Biscuit?
It's like a scone.
American. Is it scones?
It's a scone. Yeah.
Why don't they call them scones?
Because they don't. They get everything wrong. They stole everything.
Do they have scones?
And then they changed the names. I don't know. They probably call it like a rock and roller or something. I don't know. A roly-poly bread.
Do they know what a proper cream tea is?
No. They don't even know what tea is, mate.
Because a proper cream tea has scones in it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But would you start the process with take a cup of water and put it in the microwave for 3 minutes? That's how they can't start.
If someone did that, I would Deadpool that microwave at their head. Not Deadpool, Daredevil.
You know what I do?
You know the corridor scene where he throws the microwave at the guy's head.
I do know that scene.
That's a great scene.
I wouldn't do that though. I'd up and leave.
You'd up and leave.
Yeah, I'm not sticking around for that.
That's very English of you.
Yeah.
Turn the other cheek.
Absolutely not, sir.
I'm outraged.
Yeah.
Marjorie, we're leaving.
What are you doing? 3 minutes in the microwave and then they put a tea
does not come on a string.
That is
The only thing that comes on strings round here is Marjorie on my vest.
Oh dear. Okay, right.
What?
Yeah, nothing. Space Marines. The best 5 units to bring to the tabletop.
Yes.
For Space Marines.
In this edition.
In 10th edition, which is the one we're in right now. Because everybody needs help with this. Nobody knows how to play Space Marines. But I want to tell you why. Okay. Why do I feel like this?
Why? What are we talking about now? Why do you feel like what?
Why do I feel like these units that we're picking?
Right.
I'm going to start. And I want you to hear what you have to think about it.
It's about time someone did. It's been over half hour.
It's been over half hour.
And before, you see, if we start on the nose, maybe we'll be able to record one of these without someone, mainly you, saying something inappropriate. Because me, personally, I'm professional.
Yeah.
If we actually start and got all that stuff out the way first, it would be completely appropriate Warhammer stuff. We wouldn't have offended anyone, particularly the Americans. We love the Americans. You've got to laugh at someone, right?
Yeah.
It's like Kevin. I had a mate called Kevin.
Yeah.
All the parties, you wanted Kevin along. Because if someone was going to do something funny and you were going to laugh at someone, Kevin.
It was Kevin, yeah.
If Kevin wasn't at a party, people would leave and go get Kevin and bring him along. America's a bit like that. So it's probably better.
Yes, it is.
If we do get this out of the way first and do the introduction on time before someone says something inappropriate.
Yeah. Or
we've done the introduction. What? Go on.
We've done the introduction, or really just targets America,
right?
Which we haven't been doing.
Yeah. Next week we'll do Germany.
We'll do Germans next week. Yeah. And we're always showing up the English just by existing.
Yeah.
So, we've got that bit covered. Yeah, if you're American, I apologise for you. Sorry, I feel sorry for you. Is what I meant to say. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
All the best parties. I don't feel sorry for you.
Space. You know what? I don't even
What?
know what I'm talking about anymore.
Our top 5 Space Marine units in this edition. Go.
Okay. What game we talking
You
about?
said
Warhammer 40,000.
You said you'd take it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can throw.
No. My first pick is a unit that is just undeniably always cool. Never not cool to take.
Now. He was just so... Sorry, go on. He was a ginger as well, and I know you're not allowed to say that.
Oh no,
long hair and things. Not saying anything bad. I like he was. It's okay to be a daywalker. It's fine, but his face was just. You would look at his face and laugh.
I mean, he can't be offended because he doesn't have A, human rights, and B, a soul.
Yeah,
like that's what happens when you're ginger, right? So
yeah.
I think it's just fair game. You can say what you want about him. If you've made it this far and you want to know the secret code, this episode should be more rights for gingers.
The safe word is more rights for gingers.
More rights for gingers.
Type it into the chat.
Demand them in chat. Demand them in chat. More rights.
Yeah.
Because right now, in this, unfortunately, the state of the world, gingers don't have human rights, and don't have not having a soul and not having human rights is a tough gig.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that Catherine Tate sketch about gingers? Because she's a ginger.
I haven't, no.
You know, Catherine Tate.
Yeah, I know who Catherine Tate.
Am I bothered?
Yeah,
Am I bothered though?
Yeah.
Am I bothered? And she does this whole ginger sketch. It's just putting Catherine Tate gingers. It's like 5 minutes long, 10 minutes long. You'll have a great time on YouTube. In fact, if you're watching this and you made it this far, I'm amazed. Turn off.
Leave now and go watch something.
Then come back. Write in the comment section below. That was a really good choice. You don't have to come back. I mean, if you're still here watching this, you're clearly not American or German or Kevin, and I appreciate you. Right, top 5 Space Marine units, 10th edition. Welcome to the STC, episode 31. Take it away, Warsmith Chris. Boom.
Just before we start, though.
Oh, God damn it.
I sent you the audio drama, the Night Lords audio drama, because you said to me, we talked about it in an episode, and you said to me, send that to me, and I sent it to you. Did you listen to it? It's only an hour long.
You didn't send them. You didn't send me.
Yes, I did. Bro. You even answered.
Where?
You never take me seriously.
Was it on a WhatsApp? What was it?
Yeah, WhatsApp.
I'm scrolling through the WhatsApp now. I can't see an audio.
You'll see the screenshot of the audiobook, and I said, here it is.
Please acquire and listen at your earliest convenience.
That's the one.
And it is called Throne of Lies. And it's 1 hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So where does it fit in the Night Lords trilogy? Beginning, middle, or end?
Between book 1 and 2.
You said that with such conviction.
It could be 2 and 3. No, it's 1 and 2.
I'm currently near the end of book 1 of the Night Lords trilogy on Audible. So obviously, if I had finished book 1, I would naturally not forget about that thing that you sent me at all and immediately go away and listen to it. So I haven't listened to it yet because I haven't finished book 1 of the Night Lords trilogy. I've read the Night Lords trilogy, but I'm going through it on Audible right now while I'm painting my Empress Children.
Me too.
But then The Dance came out and it kind of stopped the hobby.
Oh.
It's like coming off a skateboard going down a hill face first. That's what happened to me. I got some scabs. I've been in the war zone. I
started book 3, so I missed out a lot of book 3 of the Night Lords trilogy because I tend to listen to it at night, and every now and again I make a mistake and I don't set the timer or something happens, and I have to end up having to search for where I was, and I think
because you'll fall asleep
a couple of times I've missed key parts, right? And in general, I didn't remember book 3 that well. Listening to it again, it's bloody fantastic, isn't it?
It's good.
There's too many spoilers for me to really go into it, but there's a fight in the first half, which is just, whoo! Think of the biggest fight there is in the first half, and you'll be like, whoo!
Well, the first book, there isn't a lot of fighting going
No.
on. It takes a while for it to ramp up. I had a comment from someone in the Discord like, I'm finding it quite hard going at the moment. And I was like, just stick with it.
Yeah.
Stick with it for a bit. Give it another. But mind you, if you don't get it, you don't. It's fine. You don't have it's fine. You can walk, but it gets better.
Yeah.
It's like Gaunt's Ghost is like that. Gaunt's Ghost starts off quite okay, but then gets better and better and better. And then it becomes excellent.
I personally feel that the Audible version, narrated by Andrew Wincott, I think Andrew Wincott, I don't know how he is this kind of genius that he is. Two things about Andrew Wincott that I know. Right. And that is, thing number 2 is that he is a bloody amazing Audible narrator. He brings that book to life in a way I don't think anyone else could have done. He is so good.
He's no Jonathan Keeble or Toby Longworth.
No, he is better. No, listen. His performance in the Night Lords trilogy is better than your average Jonathan Keeble performance. I'm saying it. He is damn good in that book. I rate it as a masterwork of narration.
This is why you're a warsmith. Such heresy.
Audiobook narration. The second thing is, I think Andrew Wincott was the first gay man to have a gay wedding in England.
Was he?
Yeah, when it was made legal.
Wow.
Which is like such a weird fact, but so he got in there first. He was just really, really waiting to marry his husband. Yeah. And is probably the best, one of my favourite, the best Audible narrators out there. Fantastic. So good. And he's married.
A bit behind Jonathan Keeble and Toby Longworth, who are the best.
Yeah. Let me just say,
Audible
when Jonathan Keeble tries to do in the Black Legion books, which we only have 2, I want to call it a trilogy. Where's our third book? In the Black Legion books, the first one, Talon the Emperor, there is a character in it who is
Talon of Horus.
Talon of Horus. Sorry. Oh,
I think you're hacked.
What a Freudian slip there.
You're fired.
Talon of Horus. Yeah. The whole point is it's Horus's talon. Anyway, Talon of Horus. Sorry. There is a dark Eldar. What are they called? What are the flying dudes called?
Stupid.
Succubi or something.
Pointy-eared skateboarder.
Yeah, pointy-eared skateboarder who's meant to have like a bit of a Russian accent, I think.
Right.
And Jonathan Keeble cannot do it. He just can't do it. What? The whole Night Lords vocalization is kind of like an Eastern European sounding, but it's kind of made up. Just that they tend to do it. They kind of have flecks of it, but they make up their own accent. But you can tell it's a bit Eastern European. And Andrew Wincott, he's so on it. Talos sounds so good. Everyone sounds so good. Anyway.
Sounds better than you coughing and...
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Down the microphone.
Awful, isn't it? If anyone's just listening to this and not looking at the visuals...
I know.
You're getting only half of the horror.
What is wrong with your throat? What have you been gargling? What have you had down there?
All kinds of stuff. But I am a little bit ill. And I apologise for that. Yeah. And I'm still here. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
The unit that I'd pick, first of all, which is an absolute iconic unit, is a unit of 10 Terminators for Space Marines. And I'll tell you why a unit of 10 Terminators, 10 standard Terminators with Power Fists and Storm Bolters. I think, as a unit on the tabletop in 10th edition 40k that says, fuck you, this is mine, you shall not pass. I think deep striking a unit, or even however you want to deliver them in a land raid or whatever, if you take over a central objective with 10 Terminators, that your opponent has got to really do something to shift that, because you're not gonna just shift that and take the objective back on a whim, are you? And if you've set it up specifically so you don't have anti-Terminator weapons, 3 wound, 3 damage weapons just firing away into them, I think a unit of Terminators is a fantastic gaming piece to establish some territory and say, come on then, what are you going to do?
I don't think placing them on the central objective, though, is a good tactical decision, because then it might be a unit of 10 Terminators versus the entire opponent's army. Putting them on the flank, or putting them behind lines, or putting them as not right in the middle. But
I'm saying depending on the situation. I'm not saying that is the strategy for all games. But I'm saying if you were at the point in the game where that was an objective that was being contested, whichever objective it is, 10 Terminators is going to cause a real problem. And you've got ways of giving them lethal hits and sustained hits. And if you've got ways to improve their AP on their Stormbolters, you are going to cause some damage with just weight of fire as well. And if something big wants to come and get involved, Power Fists are no slouch weapon, you know? They've got a bit of everything.
Bless you. Terminators, apparently, they're not turning up on the tournament scene. People, they're not there.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not concerned about the tournament scene.
Right. Okay.
In any game that you take, I think non-tournament players will find 10 Terminators quite oppressive. It's quite an oppressive thing, and it puts a lot of pressure on the opponent to deal with that. Depending on how you use them, yes, they can be slow. So if you leave them somewhere where they are out of the game once they've achieved their goal, that can be a problem. I get it, you've got to use them right. But I think as a tool, they should be definitely up there in the list as a block of just solid, classic Space Marine armour.
Iconic as well.
And iconic.
Terminators.
Absolutely great models. The new ones are great.
So iconic. So successful that they made many, many different flavours of them.
Yes.
For all the different armies and all the different... Yeah. Terminators.
And it's recognisable to yourself as well, because you know what their function is, right? They don't have... they're not like super nuanced. I know there's different flavours of Terminators and different factions that do have slightly different abilities.
Yeah. Like
Death Guard, for example. But for the most part, you know that where you want to use Terminators, you know what they're going to be good at. They're going to be good at sticking around as long as they're... Again, there's always a counter to everything. You don't want them showing up against a 3 damage counter or lots of high damage. But
the new sculpts are cool.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the new sculpts for the assault ones.
Oh, yeah.
Terminators are cool, but Lightning Claws, Thunderhammer, Storm Shield Terminators are cooler.
Storm Shield and Thunderhammer, I think, is the max cool a Terminator can get. I do like Lightning Claws, but what do you even do? You walk in a corridor, there's a Terminator there. He's got a Storm Shield, which is ridiculous anyway, just a slab in front of him, and a hammer, a Thunder Hammer.
Yeah.
You might as well just give up at that point. Beautiful.
I mean, in the lore as well. Just imagine a Terminator 40,000 years in the future, and I don't have any guns. I am a walking tank with a hammer and a shield.
Don't even need a gun.
Yeah.
And the Stormbolter, I know the Stormbolter is not on the table particularly great. You know, it's a strength 4 0 AP weapon. You can you can create something decent as a infantry killer out of it if you have the right components added to it, right? Like I was saying with sustain and lethals and improving your crit, what you roll a critting on 5s, things like that. Sheer output. If you're getting rapid fire on Stormbolters with all those add-ons, you'll tear apart a lot of infantry, right?
Yeah.
Especially if they don't have good saves, you'll rip through infantry. But Stormbolters themselves are just cool lore-wise, just an awesome weapon. I apologise. I'm going to quickly blow my nose off camera. You take over.
You
take over.
Blow your nose off camera. Oh. Yeah, and Stormbolters, when they actually appear in the lore, like in Gaunt's Ghost, there's a Stormbolters on couplers, on vehicles, and they've got the las guns and this, and then someone climbs up onto the Chimera coupling with the Stormbolter and the duk, and then you get to feel in human hands what the power of a Stormbolter really does. It just absolutely rinses through baddies. It's great.
Law bolters, all bolt weapons in law are fantastic.
Fantastic. I mean, even the humble las rifle in law is
Yeah.
a whip crack sound, by the way. It annoys me when the games get it wrong, because in the law it's been established for a long time that it makes like a crack crack, like the tip of a whip, because that's the light bolt breaking the sound barrier.
Yes.
There's no gunpowder boom, so it's a crack crack crack. That's the... Yeah.
If you play Dawn of War, the old RTS game, they generally get lasguns right, but where it's really right is in the there's a big overhaul mod for it, and they added the Krieg. Someone made the Krieg faction for it. Their lasguns are spot on. They are real crack. You get a little like beam shot. Yeah. It's like a burst of light, but it's connected between the gun and the end point. You know, it's not like a beam that comes out. It's not like a laser, a blaster from Star Wars. It's a... Which is exactly how I imagined it to be.
Yeah. And like a bunch of them firing at the same time as like twigs.
Yeah.
Lots of sticks cracking, but very loud.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah, my number one, or one of my top 5 units that I want to throw out there, because you dropped an OG there. You dropped Terminators, okay? Off the top rope, off the high board... of the diving board into the pool. It's in Terminator suit. It's going through the bottom of the pool. I'm going to drop something even heavier off the top rope, an OG model, which is still really good today. Looks good today. Good to play today. You see it on the tabletop still. I wish they never, ever, ever relaunch it. It is the Land Raider.
Oh, yeah. I can't argue against that. I'm now in 4 different types of Land Raider. They are... Okay, first of all, as a kid, I remember ogling Land Raiders and thinking that they were just... How could you beat that on the table?
Yeah.
They used to come with a reputation of just being like that. That's it. You got a Land Raider. That's the best thing you've got. Yeah, it's like how you can't deal with that. They've had their ups and downs, but lately I've seen a lot more of them. Yeah. Which I like. And Horus Heresy brings them back in a beautiful way, and I love that about Horus Heresy. Is that everyone can have a Land Raider, and it's all right in there, you know. It's
good. No,
it's a
Land
decent
Raider's
vehicle.
good in Heresy. One Land Raider. In Heresy, what happens is it's common to turn up with 2 or 3 of them and a Spartan.
Yeah.
So they stack exponentially, particularly in Heresy. Yeah, Land Raiders are good. Sometimes Games Workshop get it right first time. So back in the 80s, someone looked at a World War I tank and said, "Hey, let's put that 40,000 years in the future with its weird thing and the stuff, and let's turn it that way round rather than that way round." They got it right first time, that model. And I think Games Workshop these days need to go back and have a look at World War One field artillery units and things like. I mean, they put Rough Riders and Death Riders on horses. More of that, please, in the future. Thank you very much. And Land Raiders are still good today in the rules and a Land Raider. It's good. Yeah,
it's a great transport. In the current iteration of the Heretic Astartes Codex, the Chaos Space Marine Codex, so I have rebuilt my Iron Warriors. I need to bring them down to the channel at some point, but I've rebuilt my Iron Warriors as a 10th edition 40k fighting force, and I tell you what, I put 10 Chosen in a Land Raider and used the Land Raider to deliver them, and goodness me, they are a very powerful unit. You give them the right tools, give them a few extra bits and pieces, have them come out of a Land Raider. You're nearly always going to get your contents to where it needs to be with the Land Raider. It's a great delivery.
Is the Sorcerer attached to the Chosen? Is it the Sorcerer that makes the -1 to hit? 3 wounds, toughness 5.
Yeah, I added because of the way I'm playing my Iron Warriors with the he's gone. With the Iron Warriors themed detachment,
keep the fingers occupied while I'm a fiddly person.
That's right.
Iron Warriors, yeah. What was with the unit of the 10 Chosen?
I put a Chaos Lord with them, regular Chaos Lord, and I used his 0 strat to do things like brutal attrition and things like that. Which is I love that strat so much. It's so flavorful. It might not be the most competitive, but brutal attrition, being attacked by you put yourself out there, and I was attacked by Corsario Khan and a bunch of Blade Guard and then a bunch of other Outriders, and they're just taking wounds just for turning up, both of them, because brutal attrition affects every unit you're engaged with. So I'm like, come at me, guys. And those Chaos Chosen tore through so many wounds. Incredible. But yeah, the Land Raider is more of an enabler, right? It enables you to get the playoff that you want. I've had success running Black Templars, great success running Sword Brethren in Land Raiders with Helbrecht. They just run out.
Yeah.
It's a tin can inside a tin can inside a tin can.
If you don't kill it, if it's still shooting away at full effect in turns 4 and 5, if you have 2 Land Raiders still firing away at full effect for 5 turns, it's not just an enabler. It can hurt.
Yes,
it's nice. And with it can move a long way. And with Oath of Moment, and with Smokescreen, with a 2-up save, it can be very resilient. You can do all sorts of things with Land Raiders, Redeemers, Godhammer pattern, and all the Legends choices. They're lovely. Land Raider, one of the top 5 Space Marine units. You just know they're going to get nerfed into oblivion in the next edition.
Yeah, I know.
Right now, they're great.
They've had a good run, and I've made use of it as well. I've tried to bring them to most things. I haven't brought one to fight you yet, but whenever I've had an opportunity, I've brought one. Because it is that moment, it's like, this might not last forever. And Land Raiders are so iconic and so special to people that have followed the game from its roots, where Land Raiders were like the big tank. It was so good.
They did a whole article on WarhammerCommunity.com recently, like celebrating 25 years of the Land Raider.
Yeah.
They just did that. It's just they know.
They know, yeah.
And it's been more than 25 years. It's been like 35 years of the Land Raider.
Yeah.
It wasn't 2000s. It must be 35 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long time.
Amazing things. And
Your next unit.
Yeah. I mean, well, the tanks that have come after. So we got all our iconic tanks, and with the Primaris, which I hope everyone now is over the Primaris and enjoy them. They're a great upscaling of Space Marines, and they got some really cool stuff in them. I don't think the Repulsor was as well received when it, as an iconic thing of its own. But even the Repulsor's getting on now, But then I was going to say the Gladius chassis tank, the Gladius tank, was going to be my pick. But then I changed it just before we came on.
You changed it?
Yeah, Gladius is a fantastic tank, fantastic battle tanks.
Right.
But because I'm so stuck to my old ways, that when I was always loved box dreads, right? Box dreads, loved them. Another super iconic thing. I loved having the model. I felt cool having the model.
Yeah.
And the Ballistus Dreadnought gives us the box dread in Primaris form. It looks a little bit goofy, right?
Because look, it's a box dread mortis pattern box dread.
Yeah.
So Contocar Dreadnought with mortis pattern Contocar looks epic, particularly with 2 autocannons on either arm.
Oh yeah.
Or 2 twin las cannons on either arm. If the Brutalis had another sprue in it, so you could go with double las cannon, or go with, because at the moment it's just las cannon missile launcher, las cannon missile, and that's it.
Yeah. But that's what I grew up with, though, that loadout.
Another sprue, so you can do the mortis pattern. Then it would look epic.
Okay.
It doesn't look epic enough yet.
You might be right, but at the same time, I still think having a twin las cannon on one arm and a missile launcher on the other arm is a statement of intent, right? This is a gun platform. It's got built-in bonuses to hit. It's a great attack. It's a great static shooting machine, right?
In this edition, points for points, it's a very good shooty option, long range shooty option. Yes,
and it has a totally different role to the Redemptor.
But even the Boxnaut with the las cannon missile launcher variant, Boxnaut looks better than the Ballistus. Its legs are too long.
Its legs are too long, but it's kind of the goofy offspring. It's the older brother that's like, it was given different food growing up and is like super lanky with a little short brother next to him who's the older one. I don't know. I just think in terms of what we're talking about here, I think you're not going to choose the classic box dread on the tabletop if you're trying to win, right? You might do, but you'd be better off picking a Ballistas.
Ballistas is
It's a solid Dreadnought, solid price point,
yeah,
a solid gun platform, and it's a Dreadnought. Dreadnoughts are cool, and I do love a Redemptor. I love it, but a Redemptor is a different creature at all. A Redemptor is a front line. Let's go and attack things. I want to be punching people to get the most out of it, and my gun is okay. But the Ballistas is like, here's two things that are staple Imperium weapons.
Right.
Las cannons, missiles, crack, frag, whatever you want. Pam. I'm gonna fire them. And I think they're great for that reason.
Who doesn't like a bit of crack?
Who doesn't love
a
bit of crack?
I know you're up to date with the tournament scene, and it's very important to you because you'll know as well as I know that Ballistas Dreadnoughts are doing wonders in the tournament scene.
Are they now?
Yeah, there's loads of them. They're all over the place.
Well, there you go. It's a good value Dreadnought, and it doesn't have super crack like the Desolators, whatever they're called, but you can still have a nice bit of crack. Yeah,
a bit of crack.
Yeah, I really do. I really rate them. I've got a list in mind that has two of them in. So
that's because you're the WAC tournament player, and they're featuring quite heavily in all the things.
Okay.
So I mean, I think that if I had to pick a Dreadnought, and put it in my top 5, it would be the Redemptor Dreadnought.
Yeah.
Now
there's an argument.
Dreadnought looks better, just like the Terminators OG. There's so many different flavors of Terminators. There's so many different versions of Dreadnoughts now. So all the Chaos Dreadnoughts and the Hell Roots and all that. There's Contemptor Dreadnoughts, Leviathan. There's loads of we've talked about this before. You know when they hit on something that's really good when you end up getting 20 different chocolates in the chocolate box that you can pick from, which are all the same chocolate but slightly different flavors. So I mean, just iconic looking wise, just like the box Ballistas is better than the Ballistas, and the Boxnaut looks better than the Redemptor. But in this edition, rules wise, if you're gonna pick a Dreadnought, it's the Redemptor, not the Ballistas. Now they both have a 2-up save.
Okay. Yeah.
But the Redemptor reduces damage by 1. That's key.
That's
and the
really
Redemptor
good.
can shoot with the Plasma AP -3, Overcooked AP -4. Half the time is ignoring any armor. You can tank shot when you charge in there. It's got 5 attacks when you charge in there. You can advance and charge. You can fall back and charge with the Gladius Strike team. You can even advance and shoot. There's with some of the strats and some of the oaths and some of the things that you can do on the Redemptor Dreadnought. I play against a lot of Space Marines.
Yes.
And when someone throws a couple of Redemptor Dreadnoughts at you, not one, but if they throw a couple at you, then you feel it. It's like, whoa, I need to... You really feel it, more than you feel the Ballistas. Having said that, all of these things, Redemptor Dreadnoughts are not, as you would know, they're not in the tournament scene, but Ballistas are.
Yeah.
So in the top 5 Space Marine units currently, all the vets would go with you, but
I've got a compromise.
Okay.
Because as you know, I run 2 Redemptors in my Black Templars.
Yeah.
And I like getting them up in the more for fun than the strategy. I really like having 2 big fighting tough things in there to take a bit of the heat. I think they both have a place depending on what army what you're trying to achieve. Right. I think if you're taking like an Anvil Strike siege force or something, your Redemptor is not going to be the same fit in it as something like a Gladius Strike force. You're going to want the Ballistas if you're trying to build gunline Space Marines in a certain way. Or if that's the role you need to fill, is some things at the back to be shooting, if you're not bringing tanks or something like that. I reckon they're both, I think, you know what? Let's put all of them in. Let's put the Primaris Dreadnought, because the Brutalis has got its place as well.
Brutalis as well.
Love it. Love the Brutalis.
Yeah, particularly a Death Company Brutalis, which can re-roll all hits because they're Death Company. And then both Brutalises, all flavors of Brutalises have twin link weapons, so they re-roll wounds. So Death Company Brutalis re-rolls hits and wounds, and it's got a 6-up feel no pain and blood surges.
Yeah.
Not blood surge, that's the World Eaters one.
That is the World Eaters, yeah.
Two Redemptors with 2 Brutalises running straight towards the opponent gives them a lot to think about in turn 1 and 2. Yeah, that's.
Let's call it the Primaris Dreadnought.
Okay.
Chassis.
So our top 5 Space Marine units are thems.
Yes.
Yes.
They don't take all the positions. They just become one position.
Okay. Nice.
Cool. Right, we're out of time. Thank you very much for tuning in.
That's our top 5 Space Marine units, and that was a good one. That
I've got. Okay, so here's my final. I've got one more pick, right?
we're going to take it over the line.
We're going to take it over the line.
Okay.
My number 1 pick,
right,
is not based on the power that they bring. It's not based on any certain thing.
The power of Grayskull?
I think that the humble Primaris Intercessor squad in 10th edition, currently as is always a solid pick. And I'll tell you what for. They're not out there to kill people. They're not out there to destroy targets and shoot stuff down. But what they are is a toughness 4, 3-up armor save platform for scoring points, right? Sticky objectives, I just cannot get over in an arm, especially if you're trying to go for a more elite. I know Space Marines have become a little bit more hoardy than they've ever been at the moment. You can get a lot of Marines in. But you don't want to lose units. You don't want to lose a unit of Terminators or a unit of any kind of Marine unit babysitting an objective at the back. And Intercessors, I think that flexibility can actually win games. Just sticky your home objectives. It's so important, I think, having that sticky.
Lieutenants, because one of my top 5 would be Lieutenants.
Right.
Because, Lieutenants, because you can fall back, shoot and charge. With
Yes, yeah.
But they also give lethal hits.
Yeah.
Lieutenants in a unit of Intercessors with lethal hits. And then Intercessors right now, if they all shoot all their guns at the same target, they fire twice. So that's 40 shots with lethal hits. With Oath of Moment, re-rolling all hits and +1 a wound. In the game that I played against Luton, it was 2 units of Intercessors with Lieutenants in.
Yeah.
Just gun down the Nightbringer.
Yeah.
That's how you kill a Star God. With bolt rounds.
Yeah.
Like 80
and
shots.
I respect that as well. I haven't watched that one yet. I saw it pop up. Yeah. But that's something I'm looking forward to seeing.
Oh, it wasn't the Nightbringer. It was the other one. It was a Star God anyway.
Yeah. And I think as well, just doing that with Intercessors is a real just screw you.
Yeah.
I'm doing this the Space Marine way.
For the moment, they can sting.
Okay.
They can sting. And you've got to remember, Intercessors, I like the change they made, because it was always rapid fire for a long time, but they made them assault heavy. Which means if you run, you can still fire.
Yep.
And if you stand still, you hit better, you hit on 2s, you're a Space Marine. I like that change.
They're a lot closer to what they should be. They're a Primaris Space Marine at that. And you can make them into a unit with a lieutenant in it who's going to run around and do that stuff, or you can run them as a very cheap 5-man unit, going around performing actions, scoring points, sticking objectives. I think they've just got loads of value for what they do, and they're not one of those units where you put like 10 cultists on an objective, and it's like no matter what attacks them, they're probably all going to die.
Yeah.
The odds of killing all the Space Marines without a dedicated unit wanting to kill the Space Marines, they don't drop to just incidental fire. Not all of them. They've got 2 wounds each.
Are also, because I know you've got your finger on the pulse of the tournament.
Stop!
There are also many Space Marine lists. It's not common, but there are also many Space Marine lists out there running 50 Intercessors.
Yeah, that's no good, but that's no fun, for me.
Well, the point being is they scale quite well. I mean, you've got 50 Intercessors doesn't cost you that many points. You can back it up with your Dreadnoughts and your Terminators and your Land Raiders and But then you've got lots of, because they're battle line. So you can take a lot of them. And
I
then you
should
can
have said
toggle.
that as well. Yeah, their battle line, which is a
So
great
their
spot.
battle line with sticky objectives
Yeah.
that have double the number of shots if they shoot at all the thing with Oath of Moment. So you can have a 10-man here and a 10-man there and a 10-man there and a 10-man coming on from Strategic Reserve. It's not common in the tournament scene, but there are versions of lists that you see with quite a lot of intercessors running around all over the place because they are good.
I like it. I like the fact that the humble Space Marine is
Does
now
work.
a Space Marine. You know, it's not just a throwaway unit. If you don't want him to be, you can bolt them out, or you can have them as throwaway units. I think what they 80 points for 5 or something. It's not a huge amount.
I think they're not that expensive.
70,
but
80 points.
You
or
turned
something.
up here with your Iron Warriors, and I have 50 Intercessors. You're in trouble.
I wouldn't like
with
that.
Oath of Moment, with Assault, with Heavy, and with all the strats that you can put on them, and because there's all sorts of things you can do with them. It's very, very move blocking, interesting. And you know what? It suddenly occurred to me, a light bulb just exploded. A firework, Katy Perry's firework, just went off in my brain. We did 5. You did Terminators, Land Raiders, Dreadnoughts, Intercessors, Lieutenants. We've done top 5.
Yeah, but we're not done.
What?
I think we just keep going until the sun comes up.
Our favourite top 5 space.
We've done 5.
Edition. We've done 5.
Yeah, there we go.
I thought we'd never get there.
No, we did it. You know what? People get more bargain for their buck because we haven't done an episode under 1 hour in a while.
What's the time?
It's 1 hour 10 minutes. 11
so
minutes.
We haven't done one now either.
No, that's what I mean.
It's supposed to be an hour.
You get bonus. Yeah, we were like, let's just keep it to an hour, and we just roll on now. You know, we've got so much to say.
Consistency is key, particularly in YouTube and in this hobby. It's key.
Yeah, I would argue that now, and this hasn't been the case, but I'd argue now that Intercessors are like, and you can never really go wrong unit.
Right.
There are some things. Terminators might not be a good fit for your army.
Yeah.
Dreadnoughts usually will be, but there are cases where Dreadnoughts might not be the best choice.
Yeah.
But I think Intercessors in the Space Marine army, I'm not talking about Assault Intercessors or Heavy Intercessors, I mean just Intercessors, are probably always going to be a wise choice if you've got them. If you've got them kicking
Assault
around.
Intercessors with jump packs do mortal wounds on the charge. They can really sting.
Assault Intercessors with jump packs are freaking cool.
They hurt.
They're cool as well, but
particularly in a Blood Angels list.
Yes,
they really hurt.
Can you take them as battle line then?
I'm not sure.
I don't think you can.
Have. The one with jump packs, I don't think have battle line, but Assault Intercessors do and Intercessors do.
Yeah, you're stuck with the foot Assault Intercessors, which I've never quite. I mean, one of the things that has always surprised me is the fact that Space Marines have always been able to hold their own in combat, even when they, they're a weapon skill 4 or 3 up to weapon skill, or whatever you want to call it, whatever edition you're playing. They're always able to somewhat fight, even when they're just carrying a bolt gun. So I've never really worried about that, about having non-dedicated melee units ending up in a scrap, because they're probably not going to all die, and you can deal with it. So I've never really found the right spot for Assault Intercessors, but I'm sure people have. There's plenty of uses for them.
Yeah, well, I think it's like you talk to Sultan, it's like White Scars, Blood Angel. It depends what kind of Space Wolf.
Yeah.
Space Wolf. It depends what kind of Space Marine player you are.
Yeah.
If you're Raven Guard and Blood Angels, you might lean all over the Assault Intercessors and the Assault Intercessors with jump packs. As far as I'm concerned, they should all have battle line if it's got Intercessor in the title, because an Intercessor, it's like Space Marine 2. We're fitting on the jump pack now.
Yeah.
We're taking off the jump pack now. It does. If you're an Intercessor, you're an Intercessor. Should be battle line.
Well, all Primaris can do that. They can fulfill. They all fulfill multiple roles, don't they? So it's weird. Yeah. They can change. They can change around.
Another thing back in the old days that
what's that?
We get less of, talking about roles, Arctic roles.
I can't believe you just said that. Arctic rolls were everywhere, weren't they?
Yeah, they were posh.
How did you even think about that? I have not seen
rolls.
An Arctic roll, and I remember they were just like, you go around a friend's house and you get one. Wow,
I want an Arctic roll now. I don't think Kat has ever had an Arctic roll.
No.
She would love an Arctic roll. Ice cream and sponge with a little
Yeah,
jammy bit on
with
the
a bit of
edge.
jam. Yeah,
I'm writing that down.
they must have been a trend.
Arctic rolls. They were like so good.
I have not thought about Arctic rolls for
When's the last
so
time?
many years until you said this, but I remember eating them plenty of times.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was different back then. With roly-polies and stuff, there was all kinds of things that you just had in a house. You just, were just normal. I was thinking, even it's a bit cringe going into like sweets that you remember, but the sherbet fountain, I haven't seen one. Do they still exist? Can you still get a sherbet fountain?
Probably.
Why was it okay to sell a kid literally a tube of powdered sugar?
Yeah.
That you could just eat the.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when they changed the E numbers in Smarties? There was a difference before. You could sell basically drugs to children back then.
The E numbers were mad as well.
Yeah.
I actually watched. There's a compilation. It's an hour of 90s adverts on YouTube. And
really?
And it
fantastic. I'm watching that. I'm writing that down.
I'll send you the link to it.
Catherine Tate Gingers.
You watch the 9. I'll send it over to you. You will not believe how many things you remember. Like, it will spark so many memories.
Tango. They banned that one quick.
Yeah. The Smarties advert where it's a policeman and he's investigating and he looks into a Smarties tube, gets sucked in, and he goes, "How far does an orange peel go?" And he walks around it and he's got all the old colours in it and everything. And he goes, "Only Smarties have the answer." At the end, and I was like, "That's what the old thing was. Only Smarties have the answer."
I'd rather have a bowl of Cocoa Pops.
I'd rather have a bowl of... Yeah, and then I remember they released Choco Krispies and they tried to wedge that into it.
No. It didn't work.
It didn't work. I'd rather have a bowl of Choco Krispies. And it was like, no, that's not it.
They tried to change our Cocoa Pops from our cold, dead hands. And change them to another name. And the whole of the nation rose up and said, "You shall not take Cocoa Pops. They're in our constitution."
Yeah.
And they gave us Cocoa Pops back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Cocoa Pops.
Dude.
I haven't had Cocoa Pops in ages either. I really want some Cocoa Pops.
And then you drink the milk afterwards.
Yes, and it makes the milk all chocolatey.
I can't consume that amount of milk these days. It will make...
Oh,
because
no.
I'm old. It would,
Yeah, do bad things.
Yeah.
Make it with some soy milk.
Arctic roll, man. I need an Arctic roll. I've literally written it down.
Yeah.
I'm going to get an Arctic roll.
Arctic rolls. Some Cocoa Pops.
Do they still do Arctic rolls?
They must do.
They must do.
Let's go off air now, say goodbye, and then we're going to check if we can get Arctic rolls.
I'm going to literally go to Sainsbury's.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's been great. He's sorted out the Arctic rolls. And we'll see you on the next one. Love you. Thank you. Bye.
Sponge.
Bye.
It's delicious.